Hey guys, and welcome. I'm Morgan Giss McDonald, founder and CEO of Paper Raven Books, and I have with us co-authors Licia and Kirk Souder. Licia and Kirk, thank you guys for being here with us today.
So great.
Great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, we're here to talk about y'all's new book, The Soul Purpose Method. I was recently part of both your live event and reading this book. This is truly a life-changing book. I have so much more to say about that, but I would love for you guys to maybe kick it off and let us know when you wrote The Soul Purpose Method, like who is this for, and why did you feel called to write this book for these people?
Sure. I'll just jump in, and Kirk, of course, we want to hear from you as well too. Really, the inspiration behind this book is really the work that Kirk and I have done both individually with clients and students and groups of people, as well as together. We wanted to find a way that people could really live a more inspired, meaningful, fulfilling life. And when we looked around, we found that a lot of people were doing well, but not really thriving. And there was, as we did our research, in fact, we went on Google and searched around the concept of purpose. By far the number one thing that people were searching for was to find purpose. And so we both, in our own work with ourselves and our own inner callings, as well as with others that we've worked for, we started developing a method where we were getting just really significant results. People were breaking through, they were connecting with what we call our true selves, and also finding that source of inspiration and clarity, and then taking amazing, in some cases, like mind-blowing action out in the world that was creating incredible wins for them and for those who they serve.
Wow. Yeah. Kirk, do you want to jump in with?
Yeah, I mean, I second all that from Licia. I think when we decided to do this, there was kind of a wave coming at us of others in greater scale who were looking for that kind of transformation to be able to really convert their life from one of what we call kind of a default existence, right? Where we're kind of going through the motions, but we feel like there's something big in us that is yet to come out. And we had developed through the years kind of seen a series of steps up a ladder that these people needed to take to get there, but they could get there. So the challenge was, how do we meet the scale of the people who are coming to us beyond just coaching and teaching? So the idea of the workshop and the book was a way to answer that. And it's to your question, Morgan, of who's the book for. I think the book is for anyone who is listening to us right now and has this nudging feeling deep inside that there's something in me that is yet to come out, that I'm here to do in the world. And I'm not quite sure how to connect to it, and then I'm not quite sure how to make it become real. That's who the book's for, because the book does both of those things. It helps us connect, see it, and then realize it out in the world.
Yeah, so powerful. Guys, if you're listening and you're thinking like, this kind of describes me, you can actually get a free copy of this book today. If you go to paperravenbooks.com/The Soul Purpose Method, you can grab a free copy today. And I actually love y'all's subtitle. I know there was a lot of care and thought and intention behind the subtitle. I'm just going to read it really quickly. So, The Soul Purpose Method: discover your unique calling, reawaken to your true self, and co-create the inspired life you are meant to live. This book lives up to all the promise. It lives up to all the hype, right? And so you guys can grab a free copy right here, right now. Even if you're not going to read it until this weekend, just go ahead and get it today at paperravenbooks.com/The Soul Purpose Method. And we want to also kind of think, we went a little bit behind the scenes, like what was it like to write this book? You were teaching this beforehand, right? You were working with one-on-one clients, you were working with people in small groups or workshops, or the event that we just had, I think there were probably, 75 to 100 people in the room. How did you decide, like, we're going to write a book? Like, this work that we've been doing is going to become a book. Do you remember when you decided that and when maybe you had that conversation?
I'm not sure the exact conversation. Kirk, you may remember that. All I know is that when we looked into our soul purpose, because of course, as teachers of this method, we want to be integrous with what we're teaching. So when we were looking into our soul purpose, we envisioned a movement of people out onto the planet who all were really lined up and just alive and inspired and doing the work that they were meant to do. And we knew we couldn't do that, have that kind of reach simply with one-on-one and groups, though of course that is incredible to do and deeply fulfilling. We love doing that. And we wanted to get this message out for people who may not have the opportunity to know about us, fly to wherever we are, or all of that stuff. So and actually both of us, which is kind of a little breadcrumb, we talk about the breadcrumbs of purpose. Both of us many years ago were in a university program, and both of us, unbeknownst to each other, had this goal and this dream of being published authors.
Wow.
So I only discovered that we both had that during the weekend workshop that we just finished today. I just happened to discover that. So actually this book was, if in a way, many years in the making in terms of us having that inner calling to share a message that we consider very important.
Awesome. Yeah, Nicholas has just said he's read the book. It's amazing. So thanks for that, Nicholas. And Kirk, do you remember when you knew like this is actually going to become manifest in a book?
Well, here's it's a great question. And, Licia said something I think very important, which is we try and walk the walk of what we, teach. And what that is a lot about is to be in flow. To, instead of thinking it's something that I have to figure out, we go more into a space of it's something I have to allow to come through me, right? And so I think with Licia and I in the book, because neither of us can pinpoint that moment of that's the moment we said, yeah, we're going to write a book. It just kind of began to flow. I think, we had done a lot of work in preparation for the workshops. Like we had created a very intensive, detailed, comprehensive curriculum for that. And I think when we, looked at that afterwards and said, oh my gosh, like we have essentially written also an outline for what could be a very useful book for people. So for people beyond who can make our workshops all over the world, like it's all here. So why not just convert that into a book that people can use?
Yeah. And what was that like, taking something that you had delivered in person? Like you said, you already had this curriculum. So if any of us are out there, we're thinking, okay, I teach this, or I have a course, or, I have some sort of structure or framework already. How was that putting it into a book? Was it just like, oh, I just copy pasted and it became a book?
It was my fantasy.
Mine too.
I think that's why I opted so quickly into it. Like, I'm just going to take this here, put this over there, put a title, and of course it wasn't that. Yes, there was a lot of grace, but we quickly discovered that, a book is its own animal. And it's an opportunity, though, I think, for both of us to put even more magic in than maybe sometimes we can get in the workshop in terms of, the case study stories that are in the book but aren't in the workshop. We don't have time to talk about those, but in the book, we can go over for each principle. Here's the person who used this and here's how it worked for them. So in the end, while it wasn't just as easy as, converting our script into a book, it gave us the opportunity. Here's another thing we teach in the book and the workshops, this idea of preference versus purpose, right? That is, we may have a preference for how something should go and turn out, but there may be something bigger available, right? So speaking personally for myself, at the time, my preference probably would have been that it's so easy to just take the script from the workshop and plot the new title on it. But the universe had different plans And I'm really glad it did, because my preference wasn't as powerful solution as what we were able to do when we converted this into a full living book. So I'm grateful for that.
Absolutely.
One of the things that was really interesting in terms of conversion was to recognize that the people that were going to be utilizing and reading this book and utilizing the methods didn't have the opportunity to come up and ask questions like they would in a live event. And so a lot of care was taken in creating an overstructure and in really breaking things down with as much clarity as possible and sequence as possible, so that people were really guided on a journey without the need of, being able to come to us and say, hey, what about this? What about that? So actually, it actually ultimately, the structure that we created for the book ultimately informed our next generation of workshops. And I think the workshops now are even better because of it. So there's a real synergy between facilitating and designing workshops and authoring books, and how those two different mediums can really support each other in cultivating and refining a message and a methodology.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And actually, I get that question a lot. I teach, I lead workshops, but I don't feel like it's perfect yet. So I feel like it should be perfect before I write the book, because I can't ever change the book. And then, sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes it's, I feel like I need to write the book first. And once I really nail the book, then I can start teaching it. But what you've just pointed to, Licia, is that it's iterative, right?
Yes.
We will create one, and then that will sort of prompt us or move us into creating the other, and then we'll realize, oh, we can make this other one better. And so you do, you're always going to go back and forth. I think that's why we tend to write more than one book in our career.
Exactly.
That iterative growth and learning. So it's pick one that you feel most motivated and energized to do. Do that until you feel the prompting for the other. So if you're feeling motivated to the workshops, do that until you feel the book coming on, and then do the book because it's going to lead you into the next phase for the workshops.
I think that's very accurate, Morgan. In fact, if you look at the cover of the book,
mm-hmm.
a series of, rocks that go across an expanse of water. And that's very purposeful. It's because it's exactly what you're talking about, which is we really only have to worry about the thing that's right in front of us to do, what we feel called to do in that moment. The other rocks will come about as they come about. We don't have to think, both that rock has to be perfect before I move into it, or I have to see a bunch of perfect rocks. It's what am I being called to do today? Write a book, do the workshop, put some more detail on something else. I'll do that knowing that it because I have an intention of where I want to go, everything is happening in the exact right cadence that it's supposed to happen.
And I totally underscore what Kirk is saying. I mean, this is a major theme in our work of soul purpose. And part of that is trusting your process. So if you are being called to do something, trust that instinct, that calling is the informing you to what that next step is. And the steps along the way can be very messy. That doesn't mean they're wrong. One of the main benefits, and really for us, the main purpose of purpose, is that we learn and we grow. And we do that in cooperation with our own unique calling and our life curriculum. So, our message is, if you are inspired or if you are called to write a book, write the book. Write the book, because you are going to learn so much along the way, not only about the process of writing a book, but about yourself. And that's going to inform those people that you serve, because you're going to be more mature, you're going to be more enlightened along the way.
Yeah, so beautiful. And Lenora just popped in. She said, I'm lucky enough to have attended your workshop, and I'm grateful to have the book as a touchstone and a reference for that powerful experience. Thank you. And I would love to talk a little bit about the live event. You guys have this amazingly special relationship where you lead these live events together. You've co-authored this book together. And when we were, you had one of these events in New York just this last weekend. And I'm so grateful to have been there with you guys. And it was so beautiful when you had these books in the room. So we'd been through this whole transformative experience of really like getting in touch with our life's purpose and how to move into a space where we can start to take action in that life's purpose and feel really good about it. And then we're sort of approaching the end, and you can sort of tell people are like, what if I forget something? Like, what if I didn't take the right notes? Like, I just want to like capture this. And everyone came back in the room, and there were 2 copies of this book sitting in everyone's chairs. And you could just tell everyone was just like, wow, that's exactly what I was hoping for, was something to bring home with me, to bring this experience with me. And the reason there were 2 copies is to, take one home and then to give one to someone else. Can you all speak a little bit about like, why the heck did you decide that you were going to do a live event and launch a book like at the same time? Like, it seems like a great idea now. Sort of looking back, it was like beautiful moment about, like, thank you so much, and really like excitement. But like before you got to that moment and you didn't know how it's going to go, like what in you was like, let's do both.
I'll tell you something. First of all, it's really due to the incredible support of your team, Morgan. And I just want to give a shout out, and I want you all to know that this was not like a plan thing. Morgan was not asking us to give a shout out to her team, but I am compelled to do that. We didn't have any thought to doing those as a combo until we met with Morgan's team and with one of her advisors on her team, Sheena, who is just wonderful in terms of that synergy of promotion through live events. And she was really the one who said, hey, you guys, what if you did this? We asked her, like, in your ideal scene, when, and that's a terminology we use, like the ideal picture of something. When would you have us have this live launch and launch the book? And she said, oh, absolutely, combined with that live event, like immediately after that live event. Now, based on our own work, we have a term called 360-degree receptivity, which is how do we stay open to the feedback that is coming in from the universe all around us? And we take that quite sincerely in our work. So when Sheena said that, I felt the energy and went, oh my gosh, I think this is what we need to do. I think this is feedback from our universe. And so then Kirk and I had a conversation afterwards, and we were both quite clear of what a monumental amount of work it would be to put on a live event plus a book launch pretty much back to back. And we talked about it, and we both got, at least I can speak for myself, I think Kirk, you felt the same, because normally we both line up on something before we say yes as partners. So we both said, you know what? We know this is going to be a huge amount of work, but we're up for it. We're going to do it because we are dedicated to getting this message out so that more people can really be supported. So Kirk, was there anything else in that process that I forgot?
Only the multiple times between that and the launch where we said, what did we agree to? But yeah, we did stay true, and right now 360-degree receptivity is telling both of us it's time for a nice vacation.
Yeah, really, sincerely, that is quite a thing. Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because we're riding on the energy. To me, that's the most important thing. This isn't just, our book isn't one just about mental concepts. It's about following, as Kirk said earlier, it's about following the flow. And it's about living a life that is filled with synchronicity and wonder and magical, special things that just kind of pop up. And even this week in the book launch, we have had the delight of, experiencing incredible progress already. I know that we're number 1 in the motivational self-help category in Amazon. Currently, we're number 3 in all of self-help. So, and to us, that's part of when we lean into something and we get that feedback and that flow of energy comes, it's about riding it. Just like if you were in a sailboat, you turn your sails into that, that wind or that line, and then you don't have to work as hard because you're really being pulled forward through the energy that, we call it energy of what's going on. So that's my experience this week. It's spectacular to see all, what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's really accurate, particularly for both of us saying yes to let's do both at the same time that made us feel excited and alive, that could be a possibility. And, one of the quotes that you'll see in the book is by Howard Thurman. It's a quote we use a lot, which is, do not ask what the world needs. Ask what brings you alive and go do it, because what the world needs is more people who can go alive. And that's a key tenet in our work of it's about feeling that. Like, what does bring you alive today to do, right? And for us, the idea of launching both at the same time and what that could mean, it clearly brought us alive. We knew it was going to be a lot of work, but the excitement was a telltale for us of this is the right direction. So let's go in this direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of like the feedback, I think you guys are getting the feedback. We were just talking before we hit broadcast, that one of the major challenges for first-time authors is to get reviews on a book, particularly on Amazon, because you just, your readership is basically your personal network right now. The people who are willing to not only read the book, but then come and leave a review very quickly. Like, that's going to be the people who you already know in this world. And, more will come in the future. But like, this first part is just really challenging for first-time authors. And like, it is hard to get to 20 reviews, like usually, is just sort of statistically what we see. And I think because we had this beautiful live event, so many people were just transformed in powerful ways. You just give them the book and say, look, we just want you to have this, to keep it, to share it. And, we are launching next week. So if you could, download the ebook and leave a review, that would mean so much to us. And so the people whose lives you've just changed are like, yes, of course we'll do that. And so like within a couple of days, you've already got 16 reviews. Like I said, I believe like the energy's still there. You're just going to fly right past 20. And like that gets you up and over what is usually a big hurdle in publishing and in trying to navigate the Amazon platform. And so from my perspective, now having experienced this, I'm like, well, heck, a live event right before a book launch is actually a great idea. You can pull it off. So that's been really, really great to see. Anyone who's considering it, one of the ninja things we did is we put a bookmark inside of the book that is graphically sort of like paired with the book cover, and just reminds people that the book is launching on this date and that they can get the ebook for free, and to please share it and please review. Oh, Kevin says we've got 18 now.
Oh, nice.
So it's just a really great way to just to remind people want to support you, right? You guys have felt that this week, I hope. They so want you to succeed. They want to see your message spread. And sometimes they just need a reminder. Sometimes they just need something to say, oh yeah, right, I put that on my desk because I wanted to remember to go leave a review. And that's just a really great way to combine the live event. It's just a physical reminder of what to do. And I did sort of stand up in the room maybe and sort of walk people through, like, so you need to go and you need to click the buy button. And I know you were like, we don't want to talk about that. But at the same time, people came up to me afterward and they were like, thank you for just taking a moment during the live event to tell me exactly how to help, that I need to go to the ebook page, I need to click buy now, that I need to become a verified purchaser, and that I need to then leave the review. So if you're doing a live event, prior to your book launch, like, don't be afraid to give the physical reminder, to tell people exactly how they can help best, because they want to help you, and they want to help you in exactly the way that's best for you and for your message. So sorry, kind of off on a rant there for you guys, but
well, and in addition to that, I think that our perspective is, it's beautiful that people want to support us. More importantly, it's supporting the work that actually, and the message that actually supports others. So the reason why we felt like it was totally in integrity to ask that of people is because if somebody is being transformed by something, their natural inclination is, oh my gosh, I want other people in my life and other people to have the benefit of this type of transformation. And so for us, it's really about bringing this word out so that people just anywhere who are called and ready to do this work and to come alive in their life, that they have a guidebook to do that. The other thing I also wanted to share in terms of why, when I reflected prior to this about why our book launch is going so well, is because we did a very planned book launch campaign. And so it started with gathering our group of people, asking them to self-select what they wanted to do, whether it was to download the book or download and review the book, or, you know what, I'm too busy right now, which is totally fine too. And then we designed specific emails and created an email campaign for each of those different categories of people. So they are getting reminders all the way up until the launch, and then through this campaign, they're in an email campaign. And I do want to bring that forward because I do think that was also one of the components for our success.
That is great to remind people, because I mean, we do need reminders in our inboxes. And I like that you asked people to self-select. So it's a little bit of a commitment, like, ooh, yes. I have 3 choices. Which one am I going to commit to? And then that determines, which way you're going to follow up and ask them for their continued help. So yeah, super ninja, love it.
Yes, and we sent the book ahead of time to those people that had selected that they wanted to review it, so that they were actually ready to post the review by the time the launch happened.
Perfect. Kirk, any thoughts to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to underline something that Licia said about people understanding that this is a mission for us. Licia and I start every meeting we do with the setting of an intention, in terms of, this is really about getting this work and this transformation out to as many people as we can. So how are we going to do that today? And I think when people really understand that and feel that energy, because it's authentic, their support isn't so much support of, let's help make this thing number one. It's, I get to play a role in a broader mission doing good in the world. Yeah. And when you contextualize what you're doing as that, and it is authentic, then you're going to get lots of people who want to participate, because everybody, I mean, our book is based on the idea of people want to connect with meaning. Yes. Right? So the actual participation with us in this book is an opportunity for that, to connect with meaning, because everything they're doing in support of us, the reviews and everything else, they understand I'm part of this mission. You talk to Lenore, people like that, they are in this mission, like 100%. So that would be something I'd like to share to other potential authors and so on, is really examining inside yourself, what is the bigger mission and purpose that I'm setting out to do, and can I share from that place with my networks and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Claudia said I missed the event in New York, but attended the one in LA, and just how grateful she is to have been touched, by this work, and like that's it, and now people like Claudia who have been exposed to it, they have a way of spreading the message. You can't always like grab someone and say, hey, come to this event with me in LA, right, or New York or wherever it's going to be next, but you can say you can give them a book, and so that really helps people to join you in this mission in their own way, right, in the role that they can play. So thinking over all that you have learned in this process, everything from, writing the book together and, getting feedback from different people along the way, planning the launch with the live event, all of these pieces, if you were to sort of look back to that, younger version of yourself who thought that this was going to be easy as copy and paste. And yet, like, all the good things that have come through as well. What would you say to that younger version of yourself about all that you've learned? Either of you can go first. Do you want to jump in? You want to go Licia or Kirk? I don't know who has a hit first.
Yeah. I think I would say trust yourself. Trust your process. You are being supported. There is a reason why you have this impulse inside of you, this calling inside of you. It's not coming from you, it's coming through you. And you are a midwife of this message. And it is a sacred and precious thing. And as are you. So just go for it. Go for it. And no matter how it comes out, you're going to learn so much and be a better person because of it.
Yeah, as soon as Licia said it, that's exactly what mine was too. So I'll search for an additional one beyond trust yourself, because that is the key thing. It's simply understand that you exist for a reason, that as vast as the universe is, it's still incomplete without your particular story in it. Otherwise, you would not be here. And so to trust that, right? And the thing I guess I would add, I think is so important, we touched on earlier, when Licia brought it up, is the idea of sometimes it's going to be messy. And I would say that any act of creation has messiness in it. It is part of it. And our only challenge is when we judge that as wrong. And it either makes us stop it or think something's not working right? When in fact, that messiness, that bumpiness, that need to kind of take a look at everything that's going on is just part of the process, and to embrace it. When the messiness happens, say, this was meant to be right now. It's part of what's going to make this awesome.
Yeah, so good. Thank you, guys. And if you feel like maybe Licia and Kirk were just speaking to you directly, you should really pick up the book. Soul Purpose Method is free today. You can grab the ebook for free right now. Go ahead and do it while you're thinking about it. paperravenbooks.com/the Soul Purpose Method. It's also linked up in the description of this video. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the work you do. Thank you for putting this book out. Thank you for letting Paper Raven Books share in the journey with you. Thank you for sharing with all of us in New York this last weekend. And just, thank you for having faith and for being here with us today to share all of this with us. So, thank you.
And Morgan, thank you for your stewardship.
Yes.
And your diligence and comprehensiveness and everything. You and your team were quite masterful, and really appreciate it.
Thank you for following your purpose, Morgan, in supporting authors to be able to follow theirs. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, let's keep going with this launch. Let's get this message out to more people. And thank you guys for joining in with us today. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.